My sister-in-law, Angela, is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in person. Unfortunately, she also thrives off of male attention. A few years ago, my brother caught Angela in an affair with my then fiance. We were 2 months away from our wedding. They both blamed each other. My brother forgave Angela, but I couldn't forgive my fiance. Angela's a beautiful trophy wife, and she makes his boss and coworkers jealous. I met my now husband, Ezra, shortly afterward. We were both hurt by our last relationship. I think we were both so wrapped up in heartbreak that we got married almost out of spite, desperate hurt and rebounding. Ezra knew my ex cheated, but not with whom. I kept it to myself for a couple of reasons, mainly because I love my family, and I had to tolerate Angela for my family's sake. A year ago, Ezra commented about some of my family members being weird and having to block them. I brushed it off then because my family can be a bit much. They use WhatsApp as a personal diary. Angela approached me a few days later and told me that she was sorry, but she thought that I had gotten rid of my anger and hurt already. She said she worked for forgiveness and couldn't believe what I was insinuating out of spite and asked for an apology. I had no idea what she was talking about. She got frustrated and told me she knew I had texted her from Ezra's phone. I came home and asked Ezra. He simply handed over his phone. Angela was subtly flirting with him, insinuating they should start an affair. Ezra brushed her off and finally responded with, "I'm happily married. This is inappropriate. Don't text me again." I have no words to describe how I felt. Ezra's work has him interact with a ton of attractive young women. He's charming and attractive and can have so many options. He's turned down people before, but seeing how he easily brushed off Angela sparked something within me. I fell more in love with Ezra than I thought possible. I've always found him attractive, but it's on another level. I blanket him with affection. Ezra was taken off guard, but he pretty much welcomed my new feelings and affection. Ezra and I went on vacation with my family 2 days ago. I was sure to keep it appropriate for everyone, but my husband and I held hands, kissed his cheek, hugged his arm, and cuddled. My brother came to me and said that I was making Angela uncomfortable by being territorial over Ezra. He said he saw the messages too, and there was nothing inappropriate, and I should stop punishing her for my ex-fiance's behavior. I said I wasn't going to change my behavior for Angela. Angela came up to me afterward and asked if I was going to continue being childish and deeply jealous of innocent interactions, or if I was going to grow up. Angela said I made everyone uncomfortable with my behavior. Angela convinced my brother I was doing this because I feared her stealing my husband, even though she had done nothing wrong. LOL. I called her two-faced. We had to cut the vacation short because of our constant arguing, and my parents were annoyed with both of us. Am I the idiot? Edit. I just sent my brother the text from Ezra's phone in case my brother saw an edited version from Angela. I haven't heard back from him. Not the idiot. I'm not even your homie, and I hate Angela too. OP, why did your brother forgive that tramp the first time she cheated? She obviously flirted with your husband, and your brother dismissed it, which is dumb considering her history. Heck, the fact that he's still with her after she screwed your ex, and you have to deal with her presence at family gatherings is disrespectful to you. Flirting with a married man and suggesting an affair. She's done nothing wrong? What a chump, and whipped by her. Some people will just tolerate anything to keep a relationship. That's your husband. They need to be concerned with their own, instead of whining about it. Why can't they be affectionate with each other? Seriously, does he even think about why she cares so much about a married man and thinks you're rubbing it in? So what? Cheaters need to stop dishing what they can't take and shut up. She got rejected, and she's bitter. Angela's probably sleeping with her brother's boss. The closer the proximity to her husband, the greater the thrill. She'd sleep with your dad if she could get away with it. If your parents are mad at you, send them a screenshot of Angela's text to your husband and his reply. Honestly, if you want to keep your relationship strong, I would limit contact with your brother because he will never have your back. Enjoy your marriage. Exactly. She's actually jealous that Ezra loves and adores you, and you love and adore him. Angela's jealous of the loving relationship you have. Baby girl, you aren't a trophy. Your husband loves and adores you. You are loved for who you are and not how you look. Angela knows this. She also knows that your brother will find a newer and shinier trophy as she ages and isn't so shiny and pretty. Even surgery will not preserve her beauty for long. Your brother's only focused on keeping her for her beauty. His money will eventually attract a younger, prettier girl, and she'll be out. My dad and I have always made this overnight trip once a year where we go to my grandparents' cabin and hang out. This started before I can even remember. There are photos of us there, just the two of us. Mom didn't come when she was alive, and we kept it up after she died. Last year, Dad married Sarah. Sarah has a son, Jake, pre-tween. I'm a teen. So Dad and I had planned our trip for this year, and then Jake asked if he could come. Dad told Jake this was just for me and him, and we could do something else another time. Sarah said it wouldn't kill us to let Jake join, and since it was father-son time, he should be there, since Dad is the other father figure Jake has. So Dad said he could come and asked me to be okay with it. I told him I wasn't, and that there were other things he could join in for, but this was always our thing. Sarah said I could let my little brother join. I waited a few days, and the plans were still the same. Jake would come. So I told my dad I wasn't going anymore, and that I didn't want Jake to intrude on that. But since I had no say, I was taking myself out of the equation. Sarah heard me say this and said I couldn't pull out because Jake wanted time with me as badly as he wanted time with Dad. I told her I didn't want the cabin trip to include Jake and that it was never meant to include anyone else. She asked Dad if he was seriously going to let me just decide to pull out, almost at the last minute. He said it wouldn't be good if he forced me to go. The very next day, Dad decided to drop the cabin trip. Jake was upset, and Sarah was furious at me, and she said this was all my fault, and I was such a spoiled little brat. She said Jake wanted to join us and be included and seen as part of the family, one of the boys, and I crapped all over him. I told her Jake goes bowling with my dad once a month, and that Dad helps him document bugs. He has his own things with Dad, and he joins us for other stuff. I should be allowed one tradition that has been there for years and has always been just for me. Sarah said I was still spiteful and hurt a young child. I should also add that Dad has told me we'll do the trip, just us around Halloween, because he knows I was right, and he should have kept it just for us. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. While it's sad that your stepbrother's upset, you are completely in your right not to want to go if he does. This was always your thing with your dad, just you and him. Kids are entitled to alone time with their parents in blended families. The step-siblings don't have to be invited to everything, and your stepmother should not be mad that you're asking for that, especially considering your dad offered to do something else later so the three of you could go together. Keeping the tradition with you, plus making new ones with the three, sounds perfectly fine. Sarah sounds like a razor-tongued adolescent, not a mother. Are you sure she's old enough to have a pre-tween? Or is Jake in fact her little brother? OP, was your dad in earshot when she called you, checks notes, a spoiled little brat, spiteful, and someone who craps all over a pre-tween? If not, have you told him about her comments? Because they were way over the line for someone who literally married a widower with a teenager 1 year ago. Yeah, stepmom is now over stepmom, but the idiot, gently, is your dad. Your dad should be backing off the overstep, not allowing her to run you down. You aren't at all out of line. It's concerning that the new wife felt comfortable calling you names. From what I can tell, you remained calm and articulated your feelings, logically and thoughtfully. You demonstrated more maturity than her. I'm 23 and moved back home after college to save money for a house. I work a decent job and make like $65K. I live with my dad and 3 younger half-brothers, pre-tween, tween, and almost teen. Actually, the youngest has the same mom as the other 2, but my dad isn't his dad. My dad adopted him. Their mom lost custody a long time ago and pays child support. She lives on a trust fund. My dad stopped getting child support because she used all her money on drugs. My dad works, though. All of a sudden, my dad started asking me for rent. I told him no. You want money from me because you aren't getting child support. I'm not paying you child support because your baby mama can't. You should get a second job instead of pushing your child to pay for your other kids. I'm trying to save money for my own place and not live off of other people. So why is he trying to live off of me? He told me I make enough to pay rent, and I said you didn't ask me when you were getting child support. So yes, you aren't asking for rent. You're asking for child support. Edit. It's not rent. It's child support. He's asking me for $400 a month, which is the same amount as the child support he was getting. None of my friends have to pay their parents anything when they live together. Their parents actually offer them money. My dad's utilities are probably not much more since I moved in. He didn't ask me to pay that. Sorry, but at 23, with a $65K job, you're old enough and make enough to make reasonable rent payments. You are living off your dad, and now you say he wants to live off of you. You should have been helping with rent or utilities already. You either help or move. You are the idiot, OP. You're an adult, and your dad doesn't even have to allow you to live there. He doesn't need to give you a reason to charge you rent, and it's none of your business what the money goes towards or why he needs it. Don't like it? You have options. You can find your own place and pay even more rent and bills. My dad's utilities are probably not much more since I moved in. I need to ask my parents if I was this dense at 23. So don't talk about adult things you don't understand, like utility bills, because it's really embarrassing that you're 23 and this immature and unaware. Don't expose yourself for not understanding the cost of things. Everyone will know it's because you live off of your daddy. Shame on you for expecting your dad to support you when you're a fully grown adult. My husband, 34, and I, 32 female, have been married for 8 years and have 2 kids, a preschooler and a young grammar schooler. I'm currently 7 months pregnant with our 3rd child. This has been, by far, my worst pregnancy. Overall, health-wise, I'm fine, with no major issues, but the general fatigue and discomfort of being pregnant, while also having 2 other kids to take care of, is wearing on me. I've also had more nausea and terrible heartburn. As a result of me being tired literally all the time, my husband has had to take on a lot of additional household and childcare duties. He's been great about it, and things are still running smoothly, even though I can do about 1/3 of the household and the kid stuff that I usually do. This past weekend, we attended a wedding for one of my friends from college. My husband knows a lot of people in this friend group, and he was really looking forward to some adult social interaction. The wedding was a 3-hour drive from our place, so we got his parents to babysit and booked a hotel so we wouldn't have to drive home and could enjoy the reception. I felt fine all day, up until halfway through the reception, but I hit a wall energy-wise and started getting terrible heartburn. My husband was off mingling with people while I sat at a table for over an hour, talking with whoever came by to say hi. My husband came over to check on me, and I told him I wasn't feeling well and wanted to leave. He asked if I was comfortable taking the shuttle back to the hotel by myself so that he could stick around and keep socializing. I told him I wanted him to return to the room with me in case I started feeling worse so that he could take care of me. He didn't protest or argue with me, but he did give a big sigh in the ugh, okay, fine kind of way. When we returned to the room, I was so exhausted that I fell asleep immediately. He was short with me all morning as we prepared to leave. There were a lot of one-word answers type of thing. On the way home, I asked him what his deal was, and he said he was frustrated that I made him go back to the room with me, only for me to fall asleep. He said if he knew I was going to fall asleep, he would have stayed at the reception for longer. He said that this was the first social interaction he's had in months, and with the new baby coming, will probably be his last social interaction like that for months again. I told him that I didn't make him come back with me. I just told him I wanted him to, in case I felt worse. I also told him my health should be his priority over any social event. He said that wasn't giving him a choice, because if he stayed, even if I fell asleep right away as I did, I would still hold it against him that he chose wrong. He said he was enjoying behaving like an adult instead of a dad for one night, and he's allowed to be frustrated that was cut short. It might just be hormones, but his attitude makes me feel guilty. Am I the idiot for making my husband leave a wedding reception with me? I told him that I didn't make him come back with me. I just told him I wanted him to, in case I felt worse. I also told him my health should be his priority over any social event anyway. Imagine writing that, but not seeing what it means. You are the idiot. You had heartburn, FFS. You weren't dying. You ruined his night, and you did it out of jealousy and selfishness. Yep, her cognitive dissonance to say she didn't make him while 100% being emotionally manipulative is unreal. I don't understand why pregnant women will assume their partner is their personal handmaid when they're pregnant. I've been through pregnancy, and there's nothing about this situation that this woman couldn't handle on her own. She typed all of that up and still wonders if she's an idiot. Exactly, and it sounds like they were just a shuttle away. So if she did feel it getting worse, she could call him. It's no longer 1950, and there's no need to make someone come back just in case, like we don't have multiple forms of instant communication. Oh, Pete, I feel sorry for your husband. I can only imagine what his day-to-day life is like, living with a princess. He'll be neck-deep in diapers while you complain about your fatigue after that baby's born. Do your marriage a favor and get those tubes tied, honey. I'm mid-teen male, like certain snacks that you can only get at the Asian food market where I live. They have strange flavors and spices, but I think they're delicious. I was at my dad's house about 2 weeks ago, and his wife said my snacks smelled good and asked me to try some. I said sure, and let her have a few. Later that day, I went to get some more from the cupboard, but they were all gone. She had eaten like 4 bags of them. That's like $20. Plus now I have to go downtown to get more. I asked my dad if he could please give me a ride and replace my snacks. He said no, and some sharing is caring BS. So now I only take what I'm going to eat there and leave the rest at my mom's house. My father says that his wife is craving the snacks I had before. I told him where to buy them. He asked me just to pick some up the next time I went. I said I would as soon as he paid me for the ones she already ate. He said no, that we're a family and we share. I said fine, then give me enough money to buy some for her and some for me, and we'll share. He said that's not how sharing works. He says I'm being a little jerk. Since he feeds me at his house, I should share the snacks I buy with my own money. That's a hard no for me. I just think I'll stop taking any over there. Not the idiot. Sharing without asking is stealing. Since you shared without being asked permission last time, it's time for someone else to buy the treats. He refused to take you to get them, so you gave him the location. He can go get them if it's so important to him for her to have them. Not long after I started at my previous job, HR sent out a campus-wide email reminding people not to borrow money from coworkers without permission. I was floored. I feel like please don't steal shouldn't need to be said at work. It sure as heck doesn't need to be said at home, and certainly not to adults. The audacity of that man. Put on your big boy pants and head downtown to get your wife some snacks. You're a mid-teen. Geez, so young. And he wants you to feed your stepmom? What a loser, both of them. Just stop going altogether. You can eat your snacks in peace at your actual house. Before doing that, though, I would completely use up whatever your dad specifically likes. Snacks, food, shampoo, etc. And tell him, sharing is caring.